Well, in the end, Real Madrid do hold on then for a 3-2 victory. They are through to Sunday's final, where they get the winner of Atletico Madrid and Athletic Club de Bilbao. That match tomorrow in the Saudi Arabian capital of Riyadh. For more on this one, though, let's welcome in Alejandro Moreno and Luis Garcia. Ale, I'll start with you. What'd you think of the game? Pretty good ending there.
Well, it's a good game, and it was played with intensity, and it was played with energy. And if you're into moral victories, even though we're talking about Barcelona, one of the most important clubs in the world, there is a moral victory here for Xavi and Barcelona in that you wanted to see, and this is something that we discussed in the pregame, you wanted to see tangible signs of progress from Barcelona. And I think you saw some of that today. The fact that this team was able to react a couple of times, get back into the game. I like the fact that Barcelona, when you look at depth, and at times we have questioned whether Barcelona has enough players and enough quality players, I have to tell you, in looking at both teams and who's coming off the bench, I was far more excited to see the players that were coming off the bench for Barcelona than I was Real Madrid. Real Madrid, once you get past that starting 11, it gets thin, and I mean thin real quick. As for Barcelona, the guys that are coming off the bench, whether those are guys that are coming back from injury or just another young guys that are coming in and stepping in and having an impact, they really changed sort of the way the game was being played. Real Madrid was always dependent on the counterattack, on the speed of Vinicius, on Benzema finding something special, whereas Barcelona were able to change the dynamics of the game and in the end made it for a very, very good contest.
Luis Garcia, Barcelona Academy product. Can we call this a moral victory for the Catalans, even though they lost?
Yeah, definitely. The only thing that we could expect is something like this. Barcelona with an idea, with a plan, with the instructions from Xavi from the very beginning. That plan, that philosophy from Barcelona to be represented on the field. And I think we enjoyed quite a few very good minutes from Barcelona. Of course, the lack of experience, you can see some of the youngers in certain decisions that they have to do during the game. They can have mistakes, but that's something that we are expecting from the young players. But the energy, the intensity, that idea of playing wide with a lot of movements up front, something that Xavi mentioned when he arrived to Barcelona, we are going to enjoy. That's the first thing that he said. I think we did. And of course, you are playing against a very good Real Madrid that know what to do, know how to manage the game, the tempo of the game. He's got players with a lot of experience, and they've been waiting for their moment. And they had 3 times where they capitalized every single chance. We haven't seen much more from Real Madrid, nor even been some dominance from them for quite a few minutes. So I'm happy to see this Barcelona. I think the progress is getting better and better. And why not? We can see with that, those players who are coming back from injury, Barcelona who can fight to get in the top 4, and excited to see what happens with Barcelona next year.
Craig, we're sat here praising Barcelona, and yet they lost. I guess that's a good indicator of just the gap between these two teams.
But it's what Real Madrid do, isn't it? And what they've done this season, even though they're top of the league, looks like it's going to be a 2-horse race with Sevilla. But it's what they do. They give you chances. But if you don't take those, if you don't kill them off, they'll come back and they'll bite you. And they don't look to dominate teams in general. They look to be compact, and then they look to use their experience and their pace on the counter-attack. And when you have those players up front, like they have, they'll punish you. So I'm not surprised the way the game went. I mean, it ebbed and flowed at times and as it went on. But I think from Barcelona's perspective, to piggyback off what the boys were saying, I think when you see all these players coming back, I would be more encouraged about finishing in the top 4. I think a few weeks ago I was looking at them thinking, well, I mean, that could even be a long shot. But when you look at, Frankie de Jong had to go off, but you look at Depay come back, Pedri back,
Ansu Fati
back. All these players coming back. I think it was a mistake to start Ferran Torres. I don't think it was fair on him, because I don't think he was ever going to be fit enough. And it looked that way. Yeah, he got some game time, but I think it's a little bit unfair to come in with the expectation on his shoulders and go straight into a Clásico when you've not played for the length of time he has. But yeah, it's a defeat, but they played well, they were competitive, and I think both managers will be somewhat satisfied with what they saw.
Ale, you agree with what Craig's saying from the Real Madrid perspective? You think Ancelotti will be satisfied with the performance today?
I think Ancelotti and Real Madrid are advancing, and that's about as much as you can say regarding what they did or didn't do today. Look, I was surprised at times, even though we expected Barcelona to have a lot of the ball, I was surprised at times at how much difficulty Real Madrid had hanging on to the ball with real quality of possession. It was also surprising to see how much Barcelona was willing to not only press Real Madrid higher up the field, but to have runners coming out of the midfield, something that they haven't done with the consistency that you would expect since Xavi has taken over. So Frenkie de Jong running past Luke de Jong, or Ansu Fati coming from behind, or Pedri coming from behind, or Gavi coming from behind. All of that movement coming out of the midfield was forcing Modric and Casemiro and Toni Kroos to defend. And what you saw at times is that when they have to defend, when you force Real Madrid to defend in those sort of areas, they look old, man. They look like they have difficulties covering those spaces. And so that's why they almost feel forced to get behind the ball and say, you know what, let's just force a turnover in a good area, and from there, let's give it to these guys, to Vinicius and Benzema and Asensio, and let them transition the ball forward, because we can't do it. And certainly, if we're going to have to account for the runs coming out of the midfield from Barcelona, we cannot cover this ground any longer. And that's sometimes the part that concerns me about Real Madrid, is that midfield, as good as they are when they're in control of the game, when they lose control of that game, when they lose control of the ball, at times you're going to see those legs that are no longer as dynamic as they once were. So Real Madrid lost control of the midfield. They did not dominate that part of the game. And then they became a counter-attacking team, which, hey, it's the way that they're going to beat teams and win games, so be it. But you have good enough players there to where you can impose some of your possession. I don't think Real Madrid did enough of that.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.